Hello students, let's start our third chapter, Weather and Climate. What is weather? Weather is a condition of air temperature, air pressure, wind, humidity and rainfall in the atmosphere at a particular place and time. Changes in weather cause season formation and it is not permanent. Morning it may be very sunny, bright and sunny, and afternoon it will rain. So the weather of a place can change rapidly. That means the weather does not remain the same throughout the year. It keeps changing. It is only for short period. Winds means moving air. Pressure means how much force the air has. Temperature means how hot or how cold it is. See, if the temperature is very high, we will feel hot, and the temperature is very less, we'll feel cold. Next is climate. The weather condition that prevails over a large area and for a long period is called climate. It is different at different places of the world. It is not same all over the world. Weather and climate are two different things. Both are different. Weather refers to the atmospheric condition in a specific area and time, and it is for only short period. Climate refers to the typical weather in a region for a long period of time. It is hot throughout the year in the equatorial region, while some areas like the polar regions remain cold almost the whole year round. Some areas have a hot and wet climate, while some have a hot and dry climate. Can you see the equator? And it divides the earth into two halves, northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. The sun rays falls directly on this area and this region. The countries over this region will experience hot, and the polar regions, that means there are two poles, North Pole and South Pole, will not get enough sunlight over that area, so it will be cold throughout this region. Climate and weather both influence the lifestyle, food, houses, dress and economic activities of the people living in a region. We will wear clothes according to the climate. It depends upon the lifestyle also. People living in the polar regions wear clothes that protect them from extreme weather conditions. Their main occupation is fishing and hunting. The people living in polar region means the area near to the North Pole and South Pole. It is very cold over there, so they wear proper winter clothing throughout the year, and their main occupation is fishing and hunting. A meteorologist is a scientist who studies atmosphere and its changes. There are some factors influencing the climate. Throughout the world, the climate is not same. Why? Let's see. Factors influencing climate: distance from the equator, height above the sea level, distance from the sea, direction of wind, humidity and rainfall. The sun is the main source of heat and light on earth, and thus it influences the climate of a place to a great extent. The main source of heat and light is sun. Distance from the equator. All parts of the earth do not receive the same amount of sunlight. Sun rays fall directly over the equator and spread over a small area, making this region hotter. The rays become slanting towards the poles, due to which these areas are colder. See the picture. Can you see the equator? And the sun rays fall directly on the equator, and going to the North Pole and the South Pole, very less sunlight is falling over that area. So the regions over the equator will experience more temperature, that means hot, and going through the polar regions hardly any sunlight over is there, so they're experiencing cold. Height above the sea level, altitude. Altitude means height. As we move to higher altitudes, there is a decrease in temperature. This is due to the difference of the altitude above the sea level. When we go to the hill stations, we feel cold. Why? The temperature is very less. The air closer to the earth's surface is dense and absorbs more heat. This makes places at lower altitude hotter. So compared to the hill station, plains are more hotter. Why? Because the air is absorbing more heat. The atmosphere is thinner at high altitude, means hill stations, mountain areas. So the air is thinner, the temperature is very less, so we feel cold. It absorbs less heat, making the places in the hilly areas cooler. See the picture. As we go from surface of the earth to higher elevations, atmospheric temperature decreases. That is why we feel cold in the hill stations. Distance from the sea. Places near the sea coast experience moderate climate. In class 4, you must have learned about coastal plains, the area near the water body. They are having moderate climate. Why? This is due to the sea breeze which blows from the sea to the land. Coastal locations tend to be cooler in summer and warmer in winter than other locations in the plains. Regions far from the coast have extreme climates, that is, summers are very hot and winters are very cold. The plains near the water body will experience moderate climate because of the sea breeze from the water body. See the picture. Sea breeze. The heat of the sun warms up the land faster than the sea. During the day, the land and the air above it get heated and the warm air rises up, but the sea and the air above it are cooler. Cool air from the sea blows towards the land and cools it. This cool air is sea breeze. See the picture. During daytime, what happens? The cool air from the water body, sea, blows towards the land, and the warm air from the land goes towards the sea area. So during daytime, the plains are more cooler than the sea. Next is land breeze. At night, the land and the air above it cool more quickly than the sea. Warm air from the sea rises and makes room for cold air above land to blow towards the sea. This is known as land breeze. See the picture. During night, what happened? The land and the air above it cool more quickly than the sea. So, the cool breeze blows towards the sea and the warm air blows towards the land. This is what? Land breeze. Another important factor that influences the climate is direction of winds. Winds also influence the climate of a place. Wind may be hot, cold or moist depending on the place from which they blow. When they blow from hot regions like winds from Rajasthan to Delhi and to Agra, they cause hot summers. You know what is the weather condition of Rajasthan. So the dry, hot winds blowing through the summer, throughout the summers is what? Lu. The cold wind from the Himalayas make the climate cold in northern India. You know Himalayas is full of covered with snow. So the wind blowing from that area is very cold. So that makes the area northern India cold during winters. The monsoon wind bring with them rainfall. The winds from the sea make the climate cool and moist. Humidity and rainfall. Humidity is the amount of moisture in the air. Humid air affects the climate of the place and also brings rainfall. Coastal areas are humid because the wind blowing from the sea brings a lot of moisture. Rainfall also affects the climate of a place. Colder regions have snowfall. Rain gauge is an instrument used to measure rainfall. What is humidity? It is a water vapor in the air. See, this is rain gauge. This is used to measure the rainfall. Next, we will learn about the heat zones. According to the temperature and the rays of the sun, the earth is divided into 3 heat zones: the torrid zone, the temperate zone, the frigid zone. See, the equator, you know, Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn. So this area, the area near the equator is torrid zone. Next, temperate zone. Then towards the poles, North Pole and the South Pole, frigid zone. Torrid zone. It is the hottest zone of the earth. Why? See the equator. Sun rays falls directly towards this area. So here is our near to the equator is our torrid zone. That's why it is very hot. It is the hottest zone of the earth. It extends from the Tropic of Cancer in the north to the Tropic of Capricorn in the south across the equator. The sun rays fall directly on this region. So this region is hot and experience high temperature. Next one is temperate zone. There are 2 temperate zones on the earth. These lie between the Arctic Circle and the Tropic of Cancer in the northern hemisphere and between Antarctic Circle and the Tropic of Capricorn in the southern hemisphere. In this region, the temperature is moderate because they are not getting direct sunlight. Very light sunlight is coming, so the temperature is very moderate. It is not very hot. It is a most comfortable place on the earth to live. Last zone is frigid zone. It is towards the North Pole and the South Pole. This zone is a permanently frozen zone. It is very cold throughout the year. It lies between the Arctic Circle and the North Pole in the northern hemisphere, and in the southern hemisphere it lies between the Antarctic Circle and the South Pole. In this region, there is no sunlight for most of the months. The sun rays are slanting and weak in this region. It remains cold throughout the year. Why? There hardly gets any sunlight. The sun rays are very weak and slanting in this region, so that is why it remains cold throughout the year. See, polar regions, it is very cold. Recap. Weather and climate are 2 different things. Weather refers to the atmospheric condition in a specific area and time, and it is for very short period. It is not permanent and it keeps changing. Climate. It refers to the typical weather in a region for a long period of time. Then we learned about the factors influencing climate: distance from the equator, height above the sea level, distance from the sea, direction of wind, humidity and rainfall. According to the temperature and the rays of the sun, the earth is divided into three heat zones: the torrid zone, the temperate zone and the frigid zone. Thank you.